all the nations.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us right here on Morning at NTV. Our next conversation, we are going to be taking a look increasing fish stock in Lake Victoria. A decrease in fish stock is what prompted the deployment of the UPDF as fisheries enforcement units. A UBOS survey carried out between September and October in 2018 shows that quantities of Nile perch increased from 393,335 metric tons last year to 457,248 metric tons this year. Across the entire East African region, the volume of Nile perch in Lake Victoria was found to have grown from 0.8 million tons in 2016 to 1.12 million tons in 2017. The increase in stocks of Nile perch was attributed to the enforcement measures against illegal fishing practices that were intensified in Uganda and Tanzania. However, today on the show, we ask what else could be done to increase fish stocks in Uganda. And to help us understand this, we have Dr. John Walakira, a senior researcher from National Fisheries Resources Research Institute of the National Agricultural Research Organization, NARO, and Lillian Chebet from the Fisheries Institute in Entebbe. A very good morning and thank you for joining us on Morning at NTV.
Yeah, good morning.
So, Mr. John, let me start with you. How best will the conservation of fish increase biodiversity?
One thing is, first of all, to create awareness amongst the communities, the stakeholders who are owning this resource, and also by creating awareness, it also inculcates the ownership that this resource is theirs, and also to protect it, because that's where they generate their livelihoods. And two, is also to work like NARO, comes up with technologies that will enhance them to sustainably fish into this resource. We've done that through stock enhancement programs.
Let's first take a look at biodiversity.
Okay.
How conservation of fish actually increases biodiversity.
Yeah. We do that by, first of all, identifying the breeding sites. And that one we've done, and we've mapped them, especially along Lake Victoria.
Yes.
And that way we come up with policies. We give policy recommendations to the planners or the government planners so that they can protect those breeding areas. Because if you protect those breeding areas, that way you can help the regeneration of the populations to be produced into the lake. Two is also the issue of the fish which is becoming extinct. Let's say like Ningu. We've heard of the Ningu. The grandfathers were talking about Ningu. But we've come up with technologies, breeding technologies in aquaculture where we can produce the seed. And also to work together with the enforcement, the department, giving them areas where we're supposed to tell them the number of stocks and the different types of fish species which need to be protected and which need to be also maybe considered. For example, they have small pelagic like Mokene, they have become so many compared to the Nile perch. But for the conservation, it's just about awareness and also coming out with breeding programs where we can also conserve these types of species.
Mr. Chebet, let me also engage you. Did the deployment of the Uganda People's Defense Forces on Lake Victoria bring about any good in terms of conservation?
Yeah, it brought a very big change, you know, in the fisheries sector. The communities, the fishing communities, sometimes need some iron hand to stop what is not supposed to be done. Because when you look back, people used to pick very small fish. And like I said in the beginning, that in the conservation, it is important to preserve the young ones for tomorrow's generation. You know, the stock has its basis on the young ones. But when you pick all the young ones, then even pick the big ones, then at the end of the day, you remain with the water. So the forces did a lot of good work. And the people are now getting big fish, and they are able to process in the factories. And the big fish is the one we need most. Yeah. So we do our part to educate the people that get 20 inch and above. But if they don't have that iron hand, but we are happy the iron hand is in place and the fish is doing well.
The fish are doing well. But now patch increased, let me just give you this, from 393,335 metric tons last year to 457,248 metric tons this year.
Yeah.
Even the fact that there's some increase following the conservation efforts from both the national resources, from NEFRI and Fisheries Institute in Entebbe.
Yeah.
There's an increase in fish,
Yes.
but then still the prices are too high. Why?
Yeah, you see, the problem is, you know, the number of people that need the fish. You know, the population is increasing. And when the population increases, then you need more food. And this is now plays on the issues of demand and supply. So there is high demand, much as there is an increase, which means we need to increase more and more fish to be able to have it at a lower price. And maybe I could add on that's why Fisheries Training Institute is training to enhance the production and productivity of both capture and the aquaculture, capture fisheries and aquaculture.
Dr. John, besides the deployment of UPDF, what else have you been doing to increase fish stock?
We are doing a number of research technology. We're developing technologies. First of all, in recommending the type of gears which are supposed to be used and the different lakes. We have around 5 major lakes, but also over 150 minor lakes in Uganda. So NAFIRI and ANARO has come up with the recommendations on the type of gears that should be used in different types of lakes. And 2, I also mentioned about identifying the breeding sites. And 3, because we have over 500 species, and some of them have not yet fully been exploited. So we are doing more research to understand the biology and you know, the biology of this type of fish. And that way, when you understand the biology, we also come up with the other side of breeding them, let's say the aquaculture, fish farming of these endangered species. But we also do socioeconomic studies to understand the community, because they are the ones who are actually dipping into or deriving their livelihoods. So we understand what are the dynamics, what should be done so that they can co-manage these resources, because you can come up with the technology, but if you don't involve the community, that technology might not be sustainable. So if you engage them, and even using their indigenous knowledge, we come up with technologies, sustainable technologies, which are even gender responsive. Then that way we can also come up with technology that can sustain these resources.
Let me get this straight. The National Fisheries Resources Research Institute uses data to help conserve fish.
Exactly.
But not only data, you also use some information from the local communities.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Ben. According to recent studies, it's been said that actually fish conservation can help Uganda fight poverty. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that is true, because you know, fish is everything. When you have fish, then you have food security. You have good nutrition for the people. You have improvement in the household income. So when you look at fish, you get a lot of things from it, a lot of products, employment, and all that. So definitely that works to improve on the poverty.
But we've still continued to see that the communities living near these freshwater bodies are living in dire poverty, yet they should be the beneficiaries, the first beneficiaries. Why is that?
You know, with the poverty, you cannot eradicate it immediately, but we need some time, as we do a lot of sensitization, teach people how to do value addition, and make better use of the fish for their livelihood, especially food and household income improve. So it needs time and sensitization.
Mr. John, you have been commemorating World Fisheries Day. Tell us about it. What has been achieved?
For Uganda, globally, at least now there's enough awareness, taking in mind that a third of the global fisheries have been overfished. And so back here into Uganda, we've at least commemorated this day through public rallies, conferences, symposium. As I speak already, the two groups are celebrating this World Fisheries Day along Lake Victoria. One is with Makerere University, another one is with the women. So we have done enough efforts to, talk about this day and also engage government and the communities to make sure that we remember this day. But the above thing is to ensure that we do sustainable fisheries practices and to ensure a healthy ecosystem into these major lakes that we have here. But all that works together with research, policy, and especially engaging even the private sector. Yeah.
Mr. Ben, how can we lower the prices?
Of the fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, lowering the prices of the fish needs increasing the fish stocks. Because like I said...
But according to what in the preamble, it looks like we've increased our fish stocks, but then the prices are still up there. It's not adequate.
It's not
so
adequate increase.
what can be done in the interim to ensure that we lower the prices?
Yeah, maybe there is need to get more involved in the aquaculture. So that it can work together with the capture fisheries to increase the stock. And that is when you are going to increase the fish so that people can be able to get enough fish and the price will be low. And not only that, maybe we could also do what is called value addition to produce more and more products from the same fish so that the price of the fish will still go down. Because, like, for example, you can produce sausages, produce fish powder, produce fish fillets, then smoke them, freeze them, and do everything. So you will be having a multitude or a variety of products from the same fish. And therefore, the people will be going for the other fish will be less than the actual number that would be going for it, because they have a variety of products. So that, I would say, value addition in fish is very important to be able to lower the prices of the fish.
Thank you very much.
Not maybe on top of that, you can value addition and also, like I said, improving on the aquaculture to work together with the capture fisheries. That is what we can
add on that.
You can add on it, then I'll ask another question.
Okay. So also remember now, government under the new Fisheries and Aquaculture Policy or Act is now targeting to produce 1 million metric tons just from aquaculture. So we envisage, and that will be done through aquaparks, which are going to be developed. So we envisage that once this one has been implemented, we shall hit a target. But also, just to go back also on the Nile perch, what has also increased the prices of Nile perch is the fish moles. The fish moles, that one has this, everybody is going for that market. But as NARO, we're also coming up with the technologies to breed Nile perch, maybe probably to target those fish moles. Because if at all they overfish that Nile perch, that is not going to be sustainable.
So, Mr. John, besides unscrupulous people who use illegal fishing methods, what other factors have contributed to the low prevalence of fish in our water bodies?
The environment certainly has changed. That's why those are the emerging issues, climate change. But there are also other emerging issues that are, of course, overpopulation is part of it. There are also other factors like diseases. Some people fail to understand, but also diseases, these emerging diseases that have come into our systems. Here, not in Uganda, but globally. Some have become even pandemic. If you don't take care of or come up with biosecurity measures, then that one we might not achieve. But the good thing now, through government of Uganda, they've come up with a strategy, biosecurity strategies, to create awareness, and those create awareness campaigns are going to go around trying to tell people on bringing in exotic fish into the country, and we're always trying to tell people, please don't bring foreign fish from outside, because that one might end up, changing the whole systems in our system. But also climate change is also another contributing factor. Pollution and from environment.
Looking at a flashback on the fisheries sector. And before the UPDF came to do the control, we've been using a lot of bad gears, the monofilaments. And you know, with this monofilament, you find that it gets into the water and clogs the whole thing, and it traps all the aquatic life, including the fish. So I have a feeling that this decrease in, I mean, the issue of fisheries, what did you say in the beginning? I'm not getting it. Okay, the factors that has led to this. So it needs time for the aquatic life to come back to life, because it is already clogged by the monofilament in the water, which the UPDF has now stopped. So with the time, we shall have an improvement. That is one factor. The monofilament has been a very big problem.
And pollution, has pollution
that is part
exacerbated
of
this problem?
That is part of pollution, because if the water is polluted by those materials, the monofilament.
And the plastics, yes.
Plastics,
the microplastics,
yes. Then it becomes a problem.
So does not, I've heard some stories. Does Nile perch, Mr. John, does Nile perch eat other fish?
Oh, they do. They
so has that also contributed to the low prevalence of fish?
Yes, there's that just where they say they introduced the Nile perch into for example, Lake Victoria, and it ended up eating up other small fish, which even reduced the biodiversity. But time immemorial, sometimes when this one reduces, the other one increases. As right now we are talking about, there's a lot of mukene in Lake Victoria, and well, it's no longer trash, it's now food, and very many people, especially women, are gaining from it. Yes, we do have that. There are those ones which are carnivorous. There are those carnivorous, meaning fish eating fish. Yes. Then there are those ones that eat we can say herbivorous, and others which eat very small, tiny things like the plankton. So there are different types of fish. That's now the biology which I was trying to tell you.
Yes. So let's take a look at the challenges you've encountered since 1996 when you ramped up your operations to conserve fisheries in the country. What are some of those challenges?
One of the major challenges, first of all, the overpopulation. And then you look at even the enforcement bit of it. There was a time when you find there are very many fisheries officers manning all those major sites of the lakes. But the good thing, at least the government of Uganda increased the number of extension officers. Then, of course, illegal fishing has been an issue. But good thing, there was a very good strategy on co-management. It worked with the people, the BMUs, the beach management units. But I think they just need to be strengthened so that they can conserve this resource. Then the major thing also is funds. Fund is also another issue, especially in terms of implementation of this enforcement. And then also the other issue is we need a lot of money for research, for research and development. These days we are asking government at least to provide, like, let's say at least 1% of the budget to be provided in research. But we see that now coming. We see all the NAS system like Makerere has been provided with the money, and we are seeing enough projects coming in to work on to do research to conserve fish stocks. But it's funding and then also human resource and infrastructure.
Ms. Chebet, final remarks as we wrap up. You can
add,
also hint about World Fisheries Day as we wrap up.
Okay, I wanted to make an addition to
Make
that.
it.
Like he said about research. Research is very important, because we don't have enough information of how much fish is in the water. So if we could get enough funding for research, we'll do stock taking in the water, so that we can now ask people to fish a specific quantity so that they don't exhaust. But that will be some way to go.
John Walakida, Senior Researcher at the National Fisheries Resources Research Institute, and Ms. Chebet from the Entebbe Fisheries Institute. Many thanks for having made the time to speak to us.
So
Yes, nice meeting you. Thank you for bringing us.
Thank you. Well, the conversation has been centered on how best we can conserve our fish and make sure that we increase fish stocks in Uganda. My name is Romeo Busiku. Let's take another short breather. We'll be right back with our next conversation. Keep it here.